Hey house guests, welcome to today's bbcan 9 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Tahir P and Candy and Joey Steck. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, it's only $1 for a holla. Check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, when we left off yesterday, the house was reeling after the explosive house meeting blow up extravaganza. So the house meeting was pretty much Victoria versus Ro, Tina, and Tara, but in reality it was mostly Vic versus Tara. And there were a lot of different topics covered yesterday in this house meeting. If you guys want to check out yesterday's spoiler, I went more in depth with it, but it was exhausting. It was like 37 minutes of like, it was very fast-paced. There was a lot of yelling. There was screaming at times. There was a lot of crying from Victoria. It was a lot. But just some of the highlights real quick. We've got Baggate. Nobody wanted to take credit for initiating the conversation about throwing Beth's bag over the balcony. It's crazy that this is like a thing. Victoria was owning up to saying that, yes, she was like, I did say that I would put up Jed and Beth if I won HOH. But she's like, I was just saying that to get in with you guys and to get information from you guys. Whereas Ro, Tina, and Tara are denying that they said the same. They're like, no, we didn't say that. Nope, we weren't targeting them. They're all claiming that they were just going along with whatever Victoria was saying because it would have been, like, awkward if they didn't. Yeah, the throuple knows that they're lying. So the question now is, did this house meeting help Victoria's chances at all to stay? I would say probably not. I don't think this house meeting was really going to tip the scales either way. I think it was mostly just the throuple, mainly Beth, really wanted Tara to be in the hot seat and to try and, like, get some information out of Tara and Tina and possibly Ro, because they're not getting a ton out of them already. You know what I mean? So, like, they wanted Tara to be in the hot seat. So, again, the thruple's pretty confident that Ro, Tina, and Tara are all liars after this. And that's that. So, a little while later, the house guests were all hanging out in the HOH room, just enjoying themselves, having fun. After this wild and crazy house meeting, at least they're, like, over it, right? I mean, it's kind of like when siblings fight and they're, like, at each other's throats, and then 5 minutes later, they're, like, hanging out. So, good for them. But in all the craziness of yesterday, I forgot to mention that Ro won the skip the slot vote. Yay! Congratulations to him again. And all the other house guests were still on slop and bananas. And everybody was taking cold showers because of their punishment from production. All right. So then Victoria was continuing on the campaign trail. She didn't even, like, take the night off. She was just like, nope, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot, and I'm going to keep my campaign moving. She really wasn't lying when she said that she was going to campaign nonstop if she was ever nominated. This has been quite a week. And she's only been on the block since Monday. But she was talking to Jed, Beth, and Ty in the HOH room, and it's the same stuff over and over again. I'm not going to get in depth with it because we've heard it so many times now, but basically she's swearing up and down on her boyfriend's life, which I feel like these swears mean nothing coming from Victoria, because we saw during her HOH week, she swore that she wasn't going to put up Ty or Jed, and then she, like, was acting like she was going to go back on that and put Ty up on the block if Jed used the POV. So, yeah, those swears don't mean much. I don't think anybody is really putting any stock in that. But anyway, Victoria's saying, I swear on my boyfriend's life, I was never coming after you guys. I'm still loyal to the Ghost Peppers moving forward. And if I wanted you guys out, I would have taken my shot as the invisible HOH. I would have been able to do it and blame it on somebody else. So, again, she's pushing everyone else except for maybe Kiefer and Brayden are coming after you guys. I will fight for you. I'll take out Ro. Keep me as a shield. People are going to come after me before they come after you guys. And it's all the same stuff that we've heard her arguing already. So then Beth brings up week 3. It looks like Beth has had it at this point. She's tired. So she brings up week 3, Vic's first HOH week, which I was just talking about with the whole veto situation, when Jed wanted to save LaToya. And Beth says, I can't get over that. I could not fully trust you after what went down that week. And then Beth says at the house meeting, you kept saying to the other side, oh, we were going after Beth, Jed, and Ty, and you said that like 6 times. So were you actually coming after us? And Victoria's like, no, I was just trying to get the other side to admit that they were. I wasn't actually working with them. Like, I've always been with you guys. Ghost Peppers forever. So then she also addresses week 3. She says the 6, meaning the oddballs, were putting a lot of pressure on her. She was looking for allies. LaToya didn't want to work with her. So she was trying to figure things out. And she was like, honestly, I could have just let Jed use the veto. And then I would have been pressured to put one of you guys up. But because I told you ahead of time, I was basically saving you guys by threatening them. So Victoria is pushing that she would not have put Ty up as the replacement nominee if Jed actually did end up using the POV. So Beth's like, well, what would have happened? What would you have done if Jed took LaToya off the block that week? And Victoria's like, I literally don't know. She says in the moment, her only play was to make sure that Jed wouldn't use the POV. And she was pretty sure that threatening to put up Ty would get the job done. I think she would have put up Beth. I don't think she would have put up Ty like she was threatening. I think she would have put up Beth. So, again, Beth just looks like she is done. Her head is going to explode. She even said at one point that she felt like her head was going to explode. And she actually asks Victoria to leave the 3 of them to just chill for a bit, which is kind of awkward. I've noticed Beth has been doing that a lot lately. Not just with Victoria, but also with Tara. When she's had enough, she's just like, okay, well, can we, like, chat now? Can you go? Yikes. So then once Victoria left the room, it was time for the throuple to flip-flop on what they want to do. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted watching Victoria campaign. I'm exhausted watching these 3 talk about it after. Like, it's a lot. So Beth says it's just breaking her heart that Victoria is so excited about working with them. And they believe what Victoria is saying. They do believe that Victoria was actually with them. She just messed up. And they believe that she would actually stick with them and not target them moving forward. And Ty is like, yeah, Victoria has protected us. She's done all these things that she's saying. But that's not why we need to get her out. We need to get her out because she's a huge threat to win this game. And we cannot go to the end with her. So even though they're believing her and what she's saying, they're like, no, we can't keep her around. She's too big of a threat. But at the same time, they're really frustrated because, yes, they're getting rid of Victoria, who's a threat, but they're also getting rid of a number who's on their side. Whereas Tara is giving them nothing. Victoria is promising them a Final 4. And they're like, what is Tara promising us? She can barely even say that she would not put Ty and Jed up on the block. So they really want Tara to be indebted to them if they do end up keeping her. They want something out of this. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so what? You just want her to lie and say that she's not going to target you guys and then that's going to be good enough? Because, I mean, she can say anything. It doesn't mean she's actually going to follow through with it. So Beth says, we really need to be harder on Tara. She just needs to start promising us some stuff. Okay, we need some goods here. So Beth says, you know what, maybe we should take Victoria to the Final 4 with us because we can beat her in a memory competition. Which is interesting that she's saying this because Beth doesn't even want to go to the end with Ty and Jed. Obviously, she's not going to tell them that, but it almost has me wondering if Beth really has wanted Victoria out this whole entire time, but, like, she just keeps going back and forth on the vote for appearances with the guys. Like, I don't know, but I feel like Beth has wanted Victoria out this whole time. But anyway, Ty says, yeah, Victoria can also take people out for us, and Jed says, and she'd be a shield in front of us. So they feel like there's all these pros for Victoria to stay. And the 3 of them agree. They're all 50-50 on this vote. They don't know what they're going to do. It's up in the air. So then they bring in Kiefer into the discussion, and they're just, like, rehashing the same stuff over and over that we've already been hearing. But the breakdown here, Ty and Jed are really arguing for Victoria to stay. And Beth and Kiefer are arguing for Victoria to go. And it seemed like the turning point here. At one point, Kiefer starts going over Victoria's long resume of accomplishments so far that she would be able to present if she were to make it to the final two. So after hearing all of that, Ty's like, you know what? Yeah, Victoria's got to go. They were all talking about how if she survived this week, she'd be like the greatest player of all time. They can't do it. So at that point, they're like, Victoria's got to go. All right, let's put a pin in that. Now for something completely different. Ro was talking to the cameras, and he's like, I'm just surviving in this game. You know, he hasn't really been in a position of power. I mean, he's won some vetoes, but again, that was like survival mode for him. He says, I need a break, like a secret POV or something. I've had too many tough bounces in this game. So he says if he does win HOH, he's going to be taking big shots. It really pisses him off that too many people are playing this game with their emotions. Like Victoria, the invisible HOH last week, who blew that opportunity and instead of going after the throuple, decided to put up two of her allies, Austin and Brayden, who were never going after her. So he says that if he, Brayden, Tina, or Tara, any of them win HOH, that would change the course of this game. Because they would go after the throuple. So he is then talking about Kiefer, and he's calling Kiefer just a loyal soldier, going to work, part of the cool crowd because he's loyal to the other side. And I mean, he's not wrong in his assessment there. And he says the throuple was all over Kiefer when he was HOH, not so much before or after that. He doesn't know that Kiefer has been in the Sunsetters Alliance with them this whole time, but still, they definitely spent way more time with Kiefer when he had something to offer them. But Ro says, open your eyes, people. It's just so hard to play with emotional players. It would be really interesting to see Ro win an HOH. Oh my god. It would shake things up. So Ro is saying he wants Ty or Jed out next, preferably Jed. Okay. So then later, Kiefer checks in with Tina and Tara in the Destiny bedroom, and now he's got all this information about Victoria's pitching. He knows that the throuple is going back and forth about what they want to do. So he lets Tina and Tara know Victoria is campaigning hard to stay. She's telling the throuple that she's going to go after Ro, and Tara says, yeah, well, I'm saying that too. So I just want to note a few things here. Okay, number one, do we really think that Tara would go after Ro? No, right? No freaking way. But she is saying that because she has to. And another note here, Ro gave both Tara and Victoria his blessing to throw out his name and say that they're targeting him if they were to stay. But again, I don't think that Tara would go after him, but I think Victoria, like, if she did stay, she would actually still target Ro and not the throuple, which is insane. But Kiefer lets Tara know, you're gonna need a pitch that's longer than 1 week, because Victoria is promising them the world. And Tara's like, longer than 1 week? And Kiefer and Tina are telling her, just say whatever you need to say in order to stay this week. Tell them you're targeting Ro. Then tell them you're targeting Brayden after that. You know, they're going to need more than 1 week safety here. So Kiefer says it's time for you to start lying. I think you're still good with the vote, but you need to know they are considering the other option. Ooh. All right, so then this morning, Tina and Tara were chatting in the Expedia Junior room, and Tara is planning on campaigning more today. She was talking about the vote, and she feels like Kiefer is going to vote however Jed and Ty do. So if Jed and Ty change their minds, she might be in some trouble. Yeah. So she does feel like Kiefer's been putting in some work for her, though, this week, and she does appreciate that. So then Tara was talking about how horrible yesterday was for her, and she admits that she almost left through the emergency exit because of all the BS with the house meeting and everything. It was just very upsetting for her. especially because Victoria was telling her, like, you don't deserve to be here. So she's thinking about just telling people at this point, F it. If you want to keep Victoria, then just do that. Damn. Okay, and Tina's, like, trying to keep it together. She's like, is that what you're going to say, though? Maybe, like, don't. So Tara says she's not going to be saying a word to Victoria anymore. Not even, like, after this thing is over. She's not going to be in any group chats with the rest of the cast. It's not happening. She says Victoria went way too low and lost all of her respect. Damn. Okay, so then, speaking of Victoria, she was doing her regularly scheduled campaigning, and it seems like Beth has had enough. It seems like Beth is finally putting her foot down. She was talking to Jed after one of the campaign sessions, and Beth says she didn't like how Victoria was telling them, I saved you guys last week, now it's your turn to do something for me. Beth is like, no, we don't owe her anything. We stayed off the block last week because we're good at this game, not because of Victoria. But Beth says, we don't need Victoria. We don't need her moving forward. We've got Tina, Brayden, Kiefer. Wait, what? It blows my mind that Beth actually thinks that they have Tina and Brayden. No freaking way. Anyway, she's like, no, we don't need Victoria anymore because we have all these other people. If you say so. So then, Tara was also campaigning. She was chatting with Ty, which historically has not gone well for her, and, it wasn't great this time. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't great either. So she told him, if she wins HOH, she would be putting up Brayden and Ro, with Ro as the target, and she mentioned that she would also consider maybe putting up Jed against Ro, because she feels like Jed would have a good chance of beating him in the POV competition. And like she said, she would talk to Jed about it before, and if he didn't feel comfortable with it, then she wouldn't do it. But oh, Tara. So then Tara was chatting with Jed and Beth in the Expedia room, and Tara started off by telling them what a horrible night she had, and she had like a migraine all night and all this stuff. And every time Tara brings up how rough the night before was for her, the feed's cut. But anyway, Tara again is saying, if I win HOH, Ro is a clear target. And she says she would discuss the game plan with Jed, Beth, and Ty, to try and figure out the best way to go about taking out Ro. Again, I'm pretty sure she's lying. I don't see Tara actually targeting Ro. But she says, you know, if you want to put Ro up right away, I can put him up with Brayden, and that if Ro comes down, Brayden will become my new target. She says, though, I would need a pawn to go up against Brayden, and Tara says it would make the most sense for that pawn to be Beth. Because Beth used her as a pawn this week. And she's like, you guys have numbers, so I know you're going to save Beth. It's fine. Oh my god, she's telling Beth she'd be a pawn. Beth does not look happy about this. She looks pissed. So Tara says, once Victoria goes, all the sketchy people are gone. You are all sketchy. Let's not kid ourselves here. But she says taking out Ro would be a great resume move. For her, for them, for anyone. Whoever does it, it's going to be a great resume move. So she'd be an idiot not to go for it. Wink. Okay, so then Tara also mentioned, like, if you guys vote me out and Victoria makes it to the final two, I will vote for Victoria to win, even though I have zero respect left for her. And Beth agrees. She's like, no, like, I would have to vote for her too, because that would be insane. So then Beth is like, you know, Victoria's offering us Final Four right now. And Tara says, of course she is. But that's effing bullshit. You know, Beth says, well, it's a huge offer though. And Tara's like, if you want to take it, take it. But you will have an easier chance of getting rid of me later in the game than Victoria. And Beth is like, oh yeah, obviously. Ouch. But Tara's like, I can't promise you a Final Four like Victoria is. I'm just trying to survive this week. Which I think she's like mixing things up, because it seems like she's taking it as Victoria being like, I'm going to the Final Four, and you three are absolutely coming with me. But isn't it more like she's saying that Victoria is assuming that she has the power to actually make this happen. But isn't it more of like a promise that you're going to try to get to the Final Four together? That's how I've always taken it. But that's not what Tara's saying. So Jed is like, no, you don't need to promise that. We trust your word. Okay. And Tara's like, I want to be completely honest with you guys. Like, if you want to put up a strong competitor against Roe next week, so that Roe won't win the veto, she brings up, like, the possibility of putting up Jed against Roe. And she's like, we could talk about it, like, if it comes to that, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Okay, cool. She says it's completely up to them. But it's funny because Tara definitely wants Jed out. But yeah, I don't know. That's Tara's pitch. She says this is probably the last campaign conversation she's going to have with them today because nothing in her campaign is going to change. You know, Victoria is doing the same campaign over and over and over again. Tara does not want a campaign like that. So she's like, this is it. Is it going to be enough to satisfy the throuple? We'll see. In other news, the punishment from, like, disobeying production is over. Real food and hot showers are back on the menu. And Big Brother gave them some pizza to celebrate. All right. And as of right now, the consensus is that Victoria is going. The throuple, Kiefer, and Brayden all talked about it. And there was some apprehension from Ty, but they all agree, like, yeah, Victoria's gonna go. Somebody's gonna let her know either tonight or tomorrow morning. That's gonna be a mess, and they're gonna tell her straight up. It's because you're just too much of a threat to win. It's not because we think you're lying about this or that. It's just because you're too much of a threat. So we'll see if that is truly it, or if the vote will continue to flip back and forth. I think even if it does continue flipping, it's gonna be Victoria going. But we'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. We've got a double eviction tomorrow, which I can't wait for. It's going to be awesome. And until next time, much love.